Welcome to Compass for Your Life, and this is your host, Mary Ladybird, creator of Wonder Space. This show is about healing your home and body using sacred feng shui. Harmonize your life by creating a harmonious home. Easy and fast ways to improve your life and create wonderful spaces. Let's inspire you to make the best of your space to create your best life possible. Get ready to enjoy this new perspective on home living. Hello, everyone. This is Mary Ladybird with Compass for Your Life. And today we are talking about transcending your career by tapping into your passion and your intuition. And today we have a special guest, Fran Medina, who is a nurse and was frustrated with the system and turned her life around by following her passion and her inner knowing. We're going to talk about how you can expand your career into new levels of joy. Fran simply would not be confined by the limitations of the current system and was divinely guided and then supported by her mentors, colleagues, and community to pursue these dreams. So welcome, Fran.
Thank you, Mary. It's so good to be here.
Wonderful. So I was wondering if you wouldn't mind telling the viewers a little bit more about your revolution of breaking the system and moving into something that you love.
Yes, I'd love to. I really, I was working in different roles in the healthcare system, and I just felt like it really wasn't touching people on a soul level. And it wasn't really the true healing that I wanted to offer. And I wasn't quite sure what that was going to really look like. I began to just explore. And I would say to anyone that is looking to open up their passion, just be open and see what's around you, what makes you happy, what brings joy. And you might not know that. Do some writing, do some journaling, do some reflecting, notice. And I began to see that there were certain passions that I maybe buried. And I started reflecting on that, and opportunities started coming up. And the thing that I would say is it's about action. It's about stepping into the opportunity. You might not know where it's going to lead, and that's okay. It's just following that insight that you're getting. It's like a synchronistic, intuitive push to just explore something. So what I did was, when I lived in New York City many years earlier, I was interested in acting, and I took acting classes. I did a little acting, and it always was something that I was interested in, but I never really continued with. And I got an opportunity to do some exploration, and I read a nursing journal called The Nursing Spectrum. And someone who is a nurse had started a company working as a set medic in the film industry. And I was like, wow, that's like amazing. So I called her up. So I got that hit. I called her up. She said, come on down, meet me. And I did. I had a chat with her, and she said, would you be interested in going on set to a film that's being shot in Central Park? And I said, yeah, sure. She says, follow my other medics and see if it's something that you're interested in. And I stepped into Central Park, into the set, and it was like magic. It was like, I just loved it. I knew this was something I wanted to pursue. And I did this all after my full-time job or on weekends. I did per diem work, and I got opportunities to work on movies, filling in for other full-time nurses and set medics. And it was a lot of fun. And then it got to the point where I was living in Orange County, New York, commuting down to New York City mostly. And when you're a set medic, you could be let go at 3:00 in the morning. And I said, I don't want to do the commuting anymore. So I kind of let that go. And The whole thing about it was that there was an expansion of taking something I was passionate about and connecting it with my healthcare background and doing it. And it was fun. And I also felt really good about just expanding myself. And it gave me more energy to continue on my journey. So the other thing that I did that's kind of interesting is I had a degree in horticultural science before I became a nurse. And I had a 2-year degree, and I took courses at the botanical gardens in horticultural therapy. And I became a horticultural therapist. So I would work with mostly clients who had Alzheimer's in person, of course, and I would do plant therapy with them. Anything from aromatherapy to, helping them identify textures. So I did that for a period of time, and that really combined my background in horticulture and nature, which I loved, with nursing. And then, I was kind of hearing a little bit about nurse coaching, and I jumped on it right away. I took action. I ended up taking the program, got board certified in nurse coaching. I'm able to bring in more holistic modalities into the healthcare system, working with my clients. So I love that. You learn, number one, self-care, and you learn presence and how to be present with your patients or clients and to teach them a lot about holism and about it's it's a spiritual perspective, but it encompasses the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. I work with people, and then I help them to redefine and to give them tools and possibility. It's a possibility paradigm to expand and then take some action to go into what really is calling them. So that's what I do.
And it's just, I love that all the synchronicities, and being aware and being conscious to follow those. So tell me a little bit more about your holistic approach. And I think you call it transformational healing. So tell me a little bit, how does that work? How do you work with your clients? What kind of clients do you see?
Yeah, well, I am working with a lot of people with chronic illness. Underneath all, we know underneath all health issues are stress and anxiety issues. And that definitely compounds any chronic or acute illness. So the main thing that I do is working with people and doing a lot of education around the mind-body connection and what stress is and how stress affects them, because it's different for everyone, and how the nervous system and brain work and how that's related to stress and anxiety. And what I find is a lot of people don't really understand that, and they tend to blame themselves and judge themselves for the way they're feeling. So we open that up, and they have a better perspective on, what's going on. And then I work with people, and it's very individual. I work with people, helping them to transmute that energy in their subconscious that's stuck in a pattern. And that's basically what I do with my healthcare patients. With my private patients, it's really more focused on where they're stuck in their passion journey, what they want to create. Many of them might not know, because I do work with women that are first coming into their career and then midlife, where they might not be happy with what they're doing and they know there's something more for them. And then in retirement, sometimes, people are a little stuck in and in fear of, okay, I have all this space now. What do I want to do with it? And you don't have to do anything with it, but some people do feel like they need direction at that time in their life. So I really work with all phases, of a person's journey.
And it's funny too, because I recently heard of this term called enduring.
Hmm.
And it's kind of a little bit like martyrdom, but it's you're enduring the suffering and and the opposite of that is, well, why can't you get yourself out of suffering? It's because of the fear of change. And I think a lot of people that are stuck in their jobs are afraid, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to suck it up. I'm just going to go to work even though I hate it.
Yeah.
So how do we help people that are like that right now, that are just enduring, and kind of give them a thread or a strand of hope that, like, yes, you can make the changes. You can follow those intuitions and those passions. How do we get them from out of a state of suffering, because that's what they're used to, that's how they cope, into a new way of being, of a new way of approaching life,
Right.
that, that there can be more.
Is you can't get anyone out of anything unless they're ready. I work with people specifically that really want to change and they want something else and they're ready to do the work, because it does take a lot of reflection, introspection, and being able to look at what's going on um, in their subconscious, their patterns, their fears, their anxieties, and their stress level.
Let's talk just a little bit about feng shui here, to bring that into the picture. And we also look, if there's like an health issue, we look at actually the center of the home and see what's going on there. And we look at the elements, the five elements. So if there's, like, let's say, a furnace underneath, the center of the home, and your bedroom is there, how that fire element can actually affect and bring on fire qualities. So, like all modalities, it's like there's this theme of patterns. So, also in the feng shui world, we look at patterns, and how can we see these patterns and then lighten, each other and help each other, so we can move out of those patterns into new patterns that are more aligned and more healthy, have more vitality, more chi, and more flow. We do know the world is all about change. The world is always changing. So how do you see the future of coaching, and what do you think that looks like?
As far as the future, I think it's bright. I think the healthcare system is a disaster because they're not focused on preventive health. I don't know what's going to happen to our healthcare system, honestly. I have seen changes for the better over the past 30 years. I've been doing this work since my 30s. I just turned 70. I see an expansion, but I still think it's focused on money, making money. So I really don't know what's going to happen in the future. It might implode. Um, and that might be a good thing.
Right.
But I don't really know. But I think as individuals, it's important for us to just continue to follow, what is important to us, what our soul's calling us to do, no matter what it is, whether it's in healthcare or not, and to just keep doing our work, because it's the individuals that make the difference.
Well, that would brings me to my next question, which was, can we wait for corporations and for hospitals and other organizations to take the lead? I think it really is going to come from an individual level. And the more that we can step into our true calling and our true paths and express that in wherever we are, it will then the corporations and the organizations are going to have to change. So the more of us that step up individually can then create, it's like, the revolution from within to
Absolutely.
manifestation on the outside.
Yeah. And I think the more that, for instance, to give you an example, in my healthcare position, my company's wonderful. They're very progressive, and they allow me to use holistic modalities along with everything else that I do as a nurse, with the patient. And when I present, and there's such a drastic change, like I have a patient right now who had chronic nausea, and they could find nothing wrong with him. There was no medical explanation. He had anxiety as well. So he came to me originally. I offered him the nurse coaching, and then he refused, and then was desperate. Came back. He couldn't get any relief. So I worked with him, and I taught him emotional freedom technique, tapping. He went from about, I would say, 60 to 70% of the time being nauseous to maybe close to zero. And I'm going to be presenting him because we do rounds every month, and we present to the insurance company. And I'm going to be presenting him. Now, that might make some type of significant, who knows, maybe they'd be open to implementing something or having me do a training for the other nurses on EFT. So the more you do your work and the more proof, because you do have to have statistics. That's just the way the healthcare system is. And it's not a bad thing to show research and show proof. I'm all for that. I know some things we just can't prove, and I'm all for that too. But in this particular system that I'm working in, the more that, you do your work and they see any possibility is there. And it's also up to me if it resonates with me, because I don't do anything I don't want to do. In terms of my own expansion, it has to really resonate with me, and I have to really want to do it. I could offer to do a training, and who knows where that will go, for the nurses. So anything's possible. You just have to be open to the possibility and to be clear about what interests you to bring forward, and then take an action step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for doing that work too, to record and do those statistics, because a lot of people don't go there. We don't do that. And I think you're right. And, and it saddens me because there's so many great modalities out there. And, as entrepreneurs, we do have to charge a certain amount to create a living doing this, but yet there's not support for our clients financially. So it would be amazing, and I'm putting that out there in the universe, that someday these more what's called spiritual modalities will be covered by health insurance, because honestly, that's the missing key to a lot of our change and the work that we really need to be doing, and integrating it in a holistic way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Fran, for joining us today. I'm so thrilled to have this talk with you. Is there anything that is upcoming events or anything that you have going on that you want to let the viewers know about?
I have an ongoing offer that's really powerful. It's called Reset, Realign, and Restart. And it's perfect for someone who is looking to explore their passions and possibilities for the future. And it's a short program. It's just 3 60-minute coaching sessions with email support. And you'll leave with practical tools on how you can work with your own blocks as you're transmuting the energy and you're moving towards your passion.
And then just a few updates on my side. As everybody knows, I am doing feng shui. I also started up another business called Sacred Identity. I wanted to share a little bit of that today with you. I have this service now where I'm helping spiritual entrepreneurs attract more of their audience that resonates with their soul work, using light language and other modalities, and helping coach people that are not ready to be seen quite yet into this world of being seen so their voice can be heard. And you can check me out and what I do at Sacred Identity, and identity is spelled EYEDENTITY.com. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please take a moment to leave a review or support this podcast by subscribing. Visit wonderspacefengshui.com for events and other offerings. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.